Yo, what's poppin', guys? Sizzle here. Today I'm going to be talking about Doomfist and why I think people really hate this character, and why I personally really like it. Before I do any of that, though, I just want to do a quick ability rundown. His left click's like a little shotgun blast, as a headshot multiplier, as most things do, and it is projectile, it's not hit scan. His right click is a punch that knocks people back, damages them, and does stun them if you hit them into a wall. Also stuns them like on the second of impact, but it stuns more if you hit them into a wall. And also based on the charge it has, and you can charge it by holding more right click, or by blocking stuff with this E, filling up that little meter there on the right, and then the more you fill that up, the more kind of stun it has, the more damage it does, the more it knocks people back. His left shift is a leap. It's called Seismic Slam, where you leap up, and then you slam down. And when you slam down, it has like a little wave there that will do damage, and also has some unique interactions with some abilities. You can see, solid amount of damage, hits multiple people. It's pretty good. And there's a lot of text with all these things, right? So for example, a punch, if you press spacebar at the end, you can kind of extend it and turn around corners. With his leap, you can either cancel it on its own or cancel with another ability to go way higher up in the air like this. And here's like the corner thing, right? That. And then his last thing is his ultimate, where he leaps up into the air, heals a little bit while he's up there, and then slams down. And the slam itself does a lot of impact on the exact point, a little bit of impact on that little ring around it. And then, as you can see on the right, you get a fully charged fist, which gives you full stun damage and everything. So if you like this, you can see, right, it's a lot easier to kill those guys. And also, when he damages stuff, you can see that green part of my health bar. That's from when you damage people. I think it's called like battle armor. As you damage people, you get a temporary amount of health, and there is a limit to it, but it's also just pretty useful. It's a little bit of added self-sustain as a reward for kind of going in. I'm not going to go over all the specifics of this character, because every single one of these abilities has about 5 million different normal interactions and 5 million more bugs associated with it. And for those curious about all the bugs, there's a guy called Get Quaked On who has like a 50-page document of all the currently active bugs with Doomfist. That you kind of have to know to play the character. Before I spoil too much, I'll go talk about it more when I go find a game. Yeah, before I get into what I like about Doomfist and why I actually think he's a very interesting character in this game, I'm going to go over why I think most people hate him, and it's kind of something I already almost discussed while talking about the abilities, and it's that he's a very high skill hero. He's mechanically extremely difficult. He's also a very unique experience. You're not going to improve on Doomfist by playing other characters. For a lot of the other more difficult characters, there is a little bit of overlap with other characters, right? So for example, Tracer is pretty much universally known as the most difficult hero. Right? I think Doom is a close second or tied for some people, or a little bit above her for other people. But either way, Tracer is extremely difficult. However, a lot of the difficulty comes from combining the aim and the movement. But characters like Genji, characters like even like Reaper to some degree, like you will be improving that aim while playing those other characters. When you're playing any other character that isn't Doom, I can't really think of any of them that teach you anything or get you used to anything that will help you when you play Doom. Also, his unique design means he has a very unique playstyle that isn't really used by other characters either, so you can't really get used to any of that. So game sense wise, he's very unique, very difficult. Mechanically, he's very unique, very difficult, and compounded together, it makes him the most difficult hero to get a decent amount of value on, right? Like, for example, if you have never played Overwatch before, or let's just say you're someone in Silver, I think if you play Ryan for 10 hours, you can probably get, I don't know, about 80% of the value that Reinhardt can get when he's utilized to his fullest potential. That's my belief as a Ryan player. I genuinely believe anyone that puts in 10 hours on Ryan can get about 80% if they are, depending on the games they played before and like their skill on other characters and whatnot. But I think most people put in 10 hours on Ryan, you get 80%. Not the 100, right? That takes a bit more. That takes like a few hundred hours. But yeah, like that's true for most characters. Even like Tracer, who require a lot to kind of hit the peaks of, I think you can get probably, I don't know, 50, 60% of the value on the character just by having like a decent understanding of it. Doomfist, I think with the same level of just basic understanding of his abilities and kind of, knowledge of how he plays, I think you can get maybe 20%. It's notably lower than other characters, which means that if you're, trying him out, or if you're someone who doesn't play the game often, let's say you're someone in Silver or Gold or something, someone who plays like 20 hours a week, or just has less than 100 hours overall, that's a better, more reasonable thing. Most people in silver, gold, bronze play about 100 hours of Overwatch total to that point. Like, it's a very common thing. I look at their profiles, and that's standard. Or they play like 5 hours a month, right? So they don't have enough like rapid experience to really be able to do much. And because of that, and because he's such a demanding hero, both on the actual mechanical skill of the character, right, using the punches, aiming your shots, kind of flying around the map, and game sense heavy character, right, you have to play him in a very unique way that I still don't even have down, really. It makes it so that you're not going to play him to anywhere near a good degree. And like I mentioned earlier, you're going to be getting, 20% of what the hero can do. Compared to any other tank, any other character in the game even, not even just tanks. I think any other character in the game, you can, like I said, get 50% of the value, 50, 60%, just by having like a little bit of understanding of it. A few games where you kind of learned what their abilities do and saw like a few videos on how the character played. With Doomfist, when you're getting 20%, you're just at a crazy disadvantage. Like, you might as well be throwing. Your team might as well not have you on your team. And it's not because you're deliberately throwing, it's just because that's how the character is designed. It's designed to be very mechanically hard. The game sense thing is not something they necessarily design, but is definitely a part of his intrinsic kind of, the way he works. And that's the problem. That's why most people hate having him in low elo. Nobody knows how to play that hero on both a mechanical and a game sense level because he's such a unique experience. I think people that have played like Sigma, for example, have mostly a decent idea of how to play Ryan. And kind of most heroes have some overlap like that, but nobody has overlap with Doomfist. Nobody at all. It just doesn't happen. Even Ball has a bit of overlap with characters like Winston. Right? Characters like Tracer, actually, have a decent amount of overlap with Ball. So as you're playing other characters, you can get better at, the others. But with Doomfist, that doesn't exist. Doesn't happen. And as such, all the Dooms that you're going to see, especially in your lower elo games, have no fucking clue what they're doing, and are therefore, really hard to heal. Like, they rarely get any type of actually reasonable value. Like, they don't know what's going on. And that is why most people in lower elos hate Doom. Because when you have him on your team, it doesn't matter how much time that guy's put in. If he's in silver on Doom and you have him on your team, he's just throwing. Like, I'm gonna be upfront. You are throwing if you're picking Doom while you're trying to learn the character. Every other character, you can just be like, well, I'm learning him, and in a few games, a few hours, you'll have him down, and he really won't be throwing anymore. I think for Doom to be played at a competent level, like 50, 60% efficiency, you need, like, a few hundred hours. I think literally every other character, you play him for 10 hours, you get a decent amount of efficiency with them, right? You're not going to hit the highs of the character or anything like that, but you'll be doing decent enough. I have like 40 hours on Doom. This is how I'm playing. Like, I'm kind of struggling in this game. But that's also what I love about Doom, and this is something I haven't really talked about yet. Because he has so much intricacy to the character, because there's so much you can do, there's so many ways to improve, and mainly because of how much his abilities can accomplish, right? His short punch stun, his leaping around, his high mobility, his very high burst potential, and the way you can kind of use your ult to kind of over-engage, and the battle armor to kind of over-engage and pick your fights, the ones you want to go in on, the ones you want to win with. It means that you can really, like, kind of fight against anything on Doom. I think he's the only tank in this game who doesn't have, like, hard counters. There's soft counters, right? Like, Doom into Hog, for example, is very annoying, very hard to play. Doom into Ana, also very annoying, very hard to play. But a decent Doom will make that a near 50-50 matchup, right? Most matchups in the game that are bad, for example, Orisa versus Ryan. I think Orisa wins about 60-70% of the time against a Ryan of the same skill. The thing is, the average Orisa has way less skill, and that's why you can see me winning a lot of games against them. But that's just because, like, they suck, right? Those are people picking Orisa to counterpick. Those aren't people that have put in time and mained Orisa. I think Orisa will win about 60-70% of the time against a Reinhardt of the same skill. I think Doomfist at a high skill level, like when you kind of learned a lot of these mechanics, when you've learned a lot of the game sense, he can turn even his worst matchups, for example, Hog or Ana, into a 45-55 matchup, right? And that's near 50. And that's the same thing in Smash Bros. Melee. the top two characters are often debated. You know, it's like, oh, is this guy at 50%? Is this guy have like, you know, is this guy at 50%? Is this guy 55? Right? Like that small discrepancy is so small that it is basically insignificant. It is almost a 50-50 matchup. Obviously, you're not at a winning matchup, you're not at even odds, but you're so fucking close that you might as well be. And no other tank is like that. That's why half of like all the tank players you see in quick play, on the top 500 ladder, you know, on everything. That's why all those people are playing Doom. You see right there, I didn't know that going off the cart like that would send me up, so I wasn't able to stun Moira out of her ult. Right? That's like one of those things. You just have to learn with the character. It's just... even the smallest things like that can have major impacts. I think someone died to that call. Now, luckily, it seems like not only is my team better, but I'm way better than the other people in this quick play lobby. But even then, like, look, like, they want, like, Sombra, for example, and honestly, it's not... I'm not struggling with it at all. I don't, like, do too much about it. I can just kind of play the game. It wasn't always like that before this Sombra rework, but after she became a less cringe hero, it's really opened up for Doom, at least for me. It's like, you can always play this character. If I want to play Doomfist, I can always just pick the character. I don't have to be like, oh, well, they have a Bastion or an Orisa or something. I'm probably going to lose this game if I stay on the hero. I do think that a good Doom can get through any of that way more than any other hero. Like right there, I charge punched too early and I wasn't able to cancel that ult. These are all things you have to get down as you're learning the character. It's what makes him so cool. It's the fact that there's so much to learn, that he hasn't answered everything. There's always something he can do, and that he effectively has no counters. That's my biggest thing for him. He has no counters, but he's also not overpowered. That's not something I like about Baptiste. I play a decent amount of Baptiste and a small amount of Kiriko, mainly because they're so versatile. If I ever just want to play Bap and I ever just want to play Kiriko, nothing anyone can do really will convince me to swap off those heroes. Right? And that's kind of how I feel on Doom. The difference is, though, when I'm on Bap and Kiriko, I get rewarded for stupid and bad play because they're inherently just strong heroes. By having pick Baptiste, I'm effectively winning a fight. Right? By having pick Doom, that's not true. You need the skills to back it up. You need to be able to properly maneuver whatever the hell they're going to throw at you. And obviously, they're going to try their hardest to stop you. Most of these games, I'm up against Hog, Kree, you know, Sombra, and like Ana. And that's like the big four for Doom as far as I'm concerned. And this is from someone who's not at the top. I'd also like to mention, most characters have a few thousand, you know, maybe tens of thousands of people that have kind of mastered the character. I think in all of Overwatch, there might be 1,000 Doom players that have mastered him, and like 100 that are truly at the peak of the character. And I can't really say that about any other hero. That's like, those numbers are way lower than the average hero. But yeah, that's basically it. I think most people hate him because the Dooms that they play with are bad. And what brought that kind of thought about and that kind of argument is I have, like, you know, like I said, a few people in silver and gold that I play with and quick play and stuff. And, you know, I went Doom once or twice, and they'd always talked about how much they hate playing with Doom, how they found him so hard to heal, so hard to play with. And when they were playing with me and we were in the quick play lobby together, and I asked them again, like, mid-game, I was like, you know, was it really that bad playing with Doom? Do you still hate this character? And they're like, no. I know part of it's probably just because, you know, I'm way above the average silver, so like our lobbies are just gonna be fucked. Like, matchmaking does not know what to do with that in quick play. But like, yeah, like the character they hated so much, the character they hate having their team, the character they hate having to support because they're a support player, they didn't hate as much because someone a little bit more knowledgeable. I'm nowhere near good enough to play Doom, good enough to... I don't know if I mentioned this in this, or I had a failed recording where I kind of forgot to record game audio. But basically, I said something along the lines of, I believe I could get any tank to GM except Doom. I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I have the skill needed to get there. And that's also a problem. That's why Doom is a common Smurf character. It's because he requires so much unique skill that's very directly tied to the character that people can end up ranking and staying ranked way lower than they are on any other character. I've, you know, talked to a lot of people, and I know a lot of people who are like, I know, Diamond on any other tank, right? Diamond on Bull, Diamond on Rhine, Diamond on Hog. But when they go Doomfist, I've seen those people get hard stuck like high gold, low plat, right? Like way lower than their rank. And when those people are in your game, right, let's say there's a gold tank and he's trying to learn Doom, he's going to be in silver lobbies, right? He's going to be in bronze lobbies. A guy who is gold with gold game sense, even playing a character mechanically difficult, might still slaughter about half of the lobbies. And that's why it feels so awful to play against Doomfist, especially in those lower elos, because most of them are like, you know, unintentionally like smurfing. They know a lot more about the game than you, they know a lot more about how it works, but they just don't know how Doomfist kind of, you know, fits into the puzzle. And that's why they're stuck at that elo, but that's why they can dominate you so hard. That's why the enemy Doomfist will always be so much better, and the Doom on your team will be so bad. Because it's like, they don't actually really know what they're doing yet. That's why a lot of people hate on him, at least in my opinion. I know there's some people that just hate him because he has stuns and a 3-second stun. Can be pretty cringe to play into, but honestly, I found it pretty manageable, at least on tank, which I think is the role that's going to get hit by it the most. But yeah, I think he's a pretty fair character, right? Unlike, you know, Kiriko and Bap, who are, yes, very versatile, but also extremely overpowered. I mean, Bap is versatile because he can always 1v5 you. He just has a kit so strong that it overpowers everyone else. Doomfist is versatile because he has an answer for everything, right? He has kind of some way to do something, like no matter what you're doing. And that's why I love him. That's why I think he's great for the game. I don't think he should be meta because, like I said, he requires such a large amount. I mean, to be fair, it wouldn't really matter if he was meta in the lower elos because, like I said, he requires so much to just get started with that it wouldn't even really matter. But yeah, I'd like to say the cutoff point for Doom, right? Every other character, I think you can play in every elo and you'll be fine. But I think a cutoff point for when Doomfist starts getting good on your team, when you start having a lot more fun with Doomfist on your team, when you start having a lot more fun fighting against other Dooms, when there's a lot more unique interactions and kind of counterplay and all that, probably around Masters too. I think that's the lowest that you'll see a good Doomfist. Right, those are the people that have put in a few hundred hours and have really gotten the character down. And the higher you go, the more interesting Doomfist becomes to kind of fight against and all that. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on Doom. That's why I love him as a character. That's why I think he's a great design. I hope they don't really change him much. He feels pretty well balanced right now, all things considered. And that's why I've been playing him more and more. Like, if I look at my hours real quick, we can look at the overall and then a quick play, right? So all modes, time played, Doomfist should be like 40 hours something. Yeah, 49 hours. It was at 41 at the start of this week. If we look at quick play, time played on Doomfist is 10 hours. Right? The other 30 hours, I don't believe, are in competitive at all. Right, where would Doom be? Where even is it? Yeah, 1 hour of competitive on Doom. And that is, to be fair, that is only counting Overwatch 2. A lot of my time on him is actually still from Overwatch 1. But most of my time with Doomfist is actually in custom games in Doom Parkour, because I just found his movement to be neat. Right? He's a character I haven't really played that much, and I'm still saying all this about. I'm still, you know, dick riding him. I'm still just saying, like, this is a great character. I think deserves to be where he is, and he's a very interesting and unique. I think he's a great character to be solid in the game. I hope he doesn't get, like, you know, the Wrecking Ball treatment where they effectively just keep him bad. I mean, some characters should just always be bad. I don't know if Ball necessarily should be one of them, but some of them will just have to be with how many characters there are in Overwatch, and that's okay. I just hope Doom doesn't become one of those characters, because having a tank that's so versatile, I mean, this is the reason that half of the people playing tank are on Doom. Is because he's so versatile, he has an answer for everything, he has so much room for growth, and as you grow, you get rewarded more. And every time you do something on Doom, it doesn't feel like, oh, haha, like, oh, I was Orisa, and I pressed the ult button, and I just won. Every time you pop off on Doom, it's a similar feeling to that you get on Winston, where it's like, I just fucked those guys up. Like, I outplayed them every step of the way. I used my abilities to the fullest. I'm just a better player than them. And if every character felt like that in Overwatch, this game would be amazing. And that's how this game felt for a while to me, and that's what made it so great. That's what makes it still so great, despite it getting so much worse in Overwatch 2 and having so many things that are just notably worse. At the end of the day, the unique designs like Doomfist are not anywhere in any other game. And characters like him, like Reinhardt, like things like that, are what keep me tied to this game, no matter how much I hate, you know, seeing it kind of fall down, just become worse with every day. Even though it's a little bit worse every single day than it was the previous day, it's still miles above everything else because of characters like Doom, because of the versatility he has, the skill ceiling, how much you can improve with the character, how much he's able to do, how fair it feels to fight him. Right, it's great. With that being said, I'm gonna go cut the video here. I could talk about this character for quite a while, despite not having played him that much, because I do think he's really interesting, and I have a lot to say about him. If there's anything I didn't talk about in this video that you want to maybe hear my opinion on, or maybe disagree with me on, please leave a comment below. I love, just kind of talking to people in the comments. I love seeing all the different viewpoints people have. Maybe there's another reason that you hate Doom that I didn't mention in this video. Maybe there's other reasons that you love him. Yeah, just leave a comment below. I love those conversations. It is why I even do this series, like this little rant series where I rant every character, because it's been really interesting hearing all the different things that people of different skill levels, different playstyles, different mains all have to say. With that being said, hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.